I want to talk about the draft. I want to talk about Gage Wood specifically because I know that there's a lot of buzz about that pick.
Title of our show.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's interesting. It might have immediate ramifications. It may not. We'll see. But there's some meaning that I think you can derive from that selection and what they've done in the draft overall. And I will put, I will preface it by saying that I am not a draft expert, and I'm not going to pretend to be deeply familiar with all of these arms. I do love this time of year when we have people on Phillies Twitter that act like pro scouts, and they watch a couple YouTube clips and they regurgitate the other things that some of the scouts and some of the baseball prospectus and Baseball Americas have to say. And like, it's funny. It's funny watching people like play the content game. It's all.
So I know, but I'll tell you what I did find interesting about it. And I was, I'm a seam head. I was watching the draft after the Phillies. Like, you sit down, and you watch the Phillies game, and then
I watched the draft. Yeah, I watched
ESPN, and you're watching the first round of the draft on ESPN, which less than 1 million people do in this country, which is fine. But I'll tell you what I found really interesting about the broadcast. They showed one war room. It was the Phillies. They didn't show anybody else's war room. They showed the Phillies war room. And it seemed like as soon as Gage Wood was selected, everybody on that panel had some inside knowledge that the Phillies are really excited by this because here comes a guy that can pitch for them in October.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost as if this was a known thing that nobody's talked about, right?
Yeah.
And I'll admit I was a little surprised by it. But when you put the puzzle pieces together, and you go back to what Dave Dombrowski said, what he said that, sometimes you have to have your improvements come from within. You're not thinking about a player that you haven't drafted yet. You're thinking the players that are already in existence. But in a sense, could he have been referencing the fact that, hey, we may draft a guy who's we think can get ready by October because he was really good in college?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is that something that he was kind of setting you up for a little bit?
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting thing. And everybody that kind of knew it, and we were sitting there like, oh, okay, all right. So it's an intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, they seem fire up about it. The fastball whiff rate is best fastball in the country. We know the deal is there's been some injury issues. He hasn't thrown a lot with a ton of success, high college ERA. Like, the talking points are the talking points. There's obviously something there. If they are able to get him in and he's able to locate and the fastball plays and they're able to feel good enough about a secondary pitch, could they get him up here and maybe make it work in some capacity, much the way they did with a guy like Kirkering, who obviously spent more time in the minors than would in this situation. But could they fast track him and maybe have him up here by later in the year? I guess it's possible. It's not unprecedented. Certainly would be unprecedented for the Phillies.
Yes.
But I've seen the takes, and that's one of them. And then maybe a less extreme one is that simply they are preparing to part ways with some of their pitching depth at this deadline. And this is a way to replenish that depth. And it's sort of going to foreshadow some of their moves here in the next couple of weeks, which.
Well, that's an automatic. I mean, how else do you look at what they've done in this draft to this point? And when I tell you, like, up to the minute, because I have all the up to the minute picks, they are now through 8 rounds of the draft, 8 pitchers, 7 of them collegiate pitchers. So only one high schooler, actually a guy that they got in the 7th round that a lot of people thought they were going to take in the 2nd round, Matthew Fisher from high school in Indiana. But 8 pitchers they've drafted, and 7 of them collegiate. So when you talk about college pitchers, they're closer, right? They're guys that can get through quicker. Doesn't mean that maybe none of these guys pan out. Maybe 1, maybe 2. Who knows what they end up being? But the reality of it is that they loaded up today and yesterday and today on pitchers in the draft. That has to tell you that they're going to be moving pitchers.
I don't want to put you on the spot, and you may not know. I don't. But, certainly Abel is the one guy that everyone tosses out there. Painter, I presume, is untouchable. I don't think anything that's happened over the last few weeks with him, even though it's been less than inspiring at times, would change the Phillies' philosophy about dealing Andrew Painter. But let's assume Abel would be one guy they will be likely to move in light of what we're seeing. Are there any other names that you would look at and say, yeah, he's a guy that they might prepare in a package this month? because most of the players that we talk about, it always comes back to the Millers and the Crawfords and the catching prospects, and it's Escobar in the middle infield. Like, it's all about the positional guys. It's not really about the pitchers. So I ask you, because again, I don't know, is there anybody else that you look at and say, yeah, teams might be interested in player X?
Yeah, I mean, I think that probably Gene Cabrera. I mean, he's on a more secondary level. If you're talking about just pitchers, we're not talking position players.
Yeah.
Gene Cabrera, I think, is a possible name that you can see go. There's been some interest in Alex McFarlane, who's been down at A-ball. Some talk about him as well. So, like, I think guys like that maybe could get added in. I don't think that you're talking about anybody though top end. I think your top pitcher that you would move is McAble.
Right.
I mean, I guess you can always move one of the guys that has been up in the pen, like, a freaking Mercado kind of thing, like guys like that. Still probably. I'm just saying. I mean, he's got life on his pitches. He just doesn't throw strikes. Maybe another team looks at it and says, we'll take a chance on that. Like, who knows? I mean, that's the kind of thing. But no, I don't think that there's another really big name player that you're looking to trade that's a pitcher. I think it would be position players. By the way, Bob, I just want to throw this out there. The Phillies just made a pick, first pick that's not a pitcher. They drafted a New Jersey high school shortstop. Now, I know this piques your interest. They drafted a kid named Matthew Ferrara from Toms River High School East.
Yeah, there's like Toms River South, North, and East, I believe. We did not see a lot of programs. Yeah, I played the 5 years I coached in South Jersey. We played Toms River in the postseason one time. We beat them. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That was the first non-pitcher selected in the 9th round. So anyway.
A lot of people wanted the Haddon Heights kid, the catcher.
Yeah. They could have taken him. He was there for them. And there was some talk about that. But I think that when Gage Wood fell to them at 26.
Dude, he was awesome, though.
Can't pass him up.
The kid was good. He was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like he just looked different.
Yeah.
He looked different.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, one thing I wanted to bring up about the Gage Wood pick was that we're talking to Aaron Nola last month, right? And I go, like the college game. Like, guys talking a lot of shit, beating their chest, flipping bats, pointing to their jerseys, and then they draft this kid. And I asked Nola, I was like, what do you think about all that stuff? Because, you don't really see that up here. And Aaron Nola's like the antithesis of that.
Right.
And then here comes this kid who is nuts. And, like, it's fun, right? Like, I'm very interested to see what type of what his demeanor is like if and when he were to get here. Like, could you imagine Aaron Nola starting a game 4 for the Phillies, and he's taken out of the game in the 6th inning, and then this psycho's running out of the bullpen doors?
Yes, I could see that.
From 10 miles an hour to 100.
Yeah. No, I'm fascinated by the idea. I really am. And it's like, it's been done before.
You think it's going to happen? You think he comes up? Do you think that they made this pick with like he's coming up?
Well, I think they made the pick saying this is a possibility. I'm not going to sit here and say it's definitely going to happen, because maybe he gets to pro ball and all of a sudden he gets torched, right? And then it's like, all right, we can't call this guy up, right? But the White Sox have done this twice in once in the recent past and once a little further back. But if you go back to the year that they drafted Chris Sale in 2010, he came up and did this for them, same year. And then they did it a few years back with Garrett Crochet as well, as a reliever. And obviously Crochet is one of the best starters in the game now. But they brought him in right away as a reliever because they felt that he could help the team. So I think that there's certainly a possibility that it happens. I think that the Phillies would like it to happen. Whether it does or it doesn't remains to be seen.